welcome back, connoisseurs. This segment is brought to you by Reynolds Wrap Aluminum Foil.
Mhm.
Get your aluminum foil at any of your local grocery stores this week.
Always wrap it up.
Okay,
Tis the
so
season to wrap it up.
do you guys use Reynolds Wrap every time, or do you get the knockoff
Every
version?
time, non-stick. Reynolds Wrap is by far worth a little bit extra. Your family's worth a little bit extra.
Yeah, you don't cut corners when it comes to that. You
Wrap your food in love
get
and
the-
care for
you
those
get
that
the
you
real
love
stuff.
and care.
Yeah,
It's the same
100%.
exact material. It's just
No lies,
How?
lies.
Sorry, it's not the same exact material because this segment is brought to you by Reynolds Wrap Aluminum Foil.
Yeah,
Get your Reynolds Wrap.
the worst plug ever.
We lost that
Picture-
one.
But also,
Get your
use great
Reynolds
value.
Wrap aluminum foil at your local groceries today. Okay, so we'll do a little bit of Orlando Magic Corner. All right, just a little bit of a recap of what they've done. They beat the Jazz, they beat the Lakers, they lost to the Mavs. They have Atlanta coming up in Mexico City this week, and they have Damian Lillard coming into town on Saturday night. Burn, you were at the Mavs game. What were the vibes at the arena? And also, were you impressed with Banchero? Anything with the Magic? What, we too young? What's going on?
Yeah, the vibes were fantastic. It was electric. The atmosphere was fantastic. There was quite a bit of Mavs fans, which is always concerning. But yeah, at the end of the day, you've got Kyrie Irving and the Luka Doncic, who you can't say enough about that guy. He's averaging over 32 plus points a game. But heck, I mean, that first half, that's the best I've seen the Magic play in a long time. Holding a team that averages 112 plus points a game, they might even be closer to 120, to be honest, I without looking at the right stats. But I thought their defense played well. I thought they hung in there well. But here's the problem with the Magic. They don't have that go-to clutch shooter, and they don't have, and they signed Joe Ingles, as a
that's a
three-point
needle mover.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And
Jingles.
That's the thing, is like they brought in this veteran that maybe could help with their 3-point shooting. Right now they're shooting 31.9% as a team. That ain't going to cut it. And let me tell you, when Dallas started pulling away was in the second half, in the third quarter, about middle through, and Orlando was just unleashing 3-point shots and none were falling. So
Yeah.
I think, but Jonathan Isaac was on minutes restriction, so he didn't play. Wendell Carter's out. I get it. And Markelle Fultz wasn't playing. He was injured too. But I'm encouraged. I think Orlando is a really good team. I think they're a playoff team as long as they stay healthy. As Jonathan Isaac gets his feet back, that boy, defense-wise, you need that. And he knows his role, and he's okay with it now that we have, Wagner and Banchero. So it was a great atmosphere. It was a great game. It got a little crazy in the fourth quarter. We just all right, they're starting to pull away. We'll move on. But plus we don't want to get stuck in the parking garage. But yeah, I think it was an encouraging game. I think Orlando can hold their own. You saw what they did against the Lakers.
Yeah, I like that win.
Yeah, I think
nice win.
100%. They're a playoff team. I think they're playing really well. They've got the chemistry. They just they have got to find some shooting on the outside.
Yeah, I know. They decided
I don't know what that's gonna do.
draft. Well, they drafted 5
Black.
guards, and then
Anthony Black and Caleb, or was it Caleb Houston? No, Jet.
No, we already
Howard.
had Houston. Yeah,
Jet Howard.
but we already have Suggs and Fultz, and
Yep.
how many more
Suggs
guards?
has impressed me, by the way, this season. He's starting to be better than what he,
Starting to put it
talks about
together.
him being a bust. Yeah, but still, yeah, like you're saying, Javi, no sharpshooters, and that's what the Magic need.
Especially when teams are scoring 150.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you got to have that. I think that Jingles, I love Joe Ingles, but it's not a good look running up and down the court, and it hasn't been productive. They need a sharpshooter. Did you know this Magic started with the third most ever consecutive games against the opposite conference to start a season? Did you know that?
I did not.
7 games against the Western Conference is the third most ever to start an NBA season. They have not played an Eastern Conference team yet. And as we know, West is where the power's at. Let me tell you how that went for the 05-06 Hawks, who played the most. They went 0-9 against. So we went 4-3.
4-3
against teams with a combined 12-8 record. Good showing for the Magi. We get back home. We get into our much softer conference. Playoff team. Couldn't agree more with you two. We need some outside shooters. Going to have to address that or find that on the roster. And I think if we could do that, could be 5 or 6 seed. If not, probably 7 or 8. But good start for the Magic. You'd love to be 5-2, but 4-3 coming off that road trip playing those Western Conference juggernauts. Not bad at all.
Yeah, that's really interesting stat right there. But the problem with their schedule here is that they're the 2 East teams that they're going to be playing. One of them is possibly the best team in the NBA, Milwaukee. So
Yeah.
it doesn't get any easier for them this weekend. Obviously, they have the rivalry with Atlanta, obviously in the same division. That game's going to be big. I love Banchero. I think that he's going to be a force in this league, but I don't know if he's like a number 1 guy. I think he's probably going to turn into a good number 2 guy to have on the team. He doesn't shoot the 3 ball well, and that's all the NBA is now, is just who can shoot the best threes. So you have to pair him with somebody that can shoot, especially you have to have him with a point guard that can shoot. Fultz and Suggs are both good, but they like to take it into the hoop. So
yeah, Cole Anthony's the same way. Cole Anthony's been terrific for us. Yeah.
Cole. I do
the same
like
thing with
Cole
Anthony
Anthony.
Black. Even as a
Just name another guard. We have so many.
Yeah, 4 of the same player. It's the exact same duplicate player. The Magic front office can't get enough. One of these, we've got to do one of these things. It's not like the other eventually.
No, I know. Going into week 9 in the NFL, I was curious because obviously, as you guys know, my Bucks are on a brutal losing streak. I was so tired. I went to church on Sunday, and then I came home. I put the Bucks game on, and then I was trying to take my after church nap. Those are like the best naps of all time.
Oh yeah.
And I was trying to hang in there. I'm like, okay, the Bucks just took the lead. There's 40 seconds left, and then boom, I was out. So I was like, oh, we're gonna win the game. Then I wake up and somehow we lose. CJ Stroud threw for like 900
somebody
yards.
did not pray hard enough.
Yeah, I guess I didn't pray for the right thing. But so I was like, after I saw that score, I was like, I almost want us to just pull the plug, but I was like, I don't know if it's too early in the season because we're only like a game back in the division, but I still just want us to pull the plug because I'm so sick of us losing. So, Bijan, I'll start with you. Do you think that it's too early to pull the plug in general in the NFL at this point in the season?
I would hate to get grim on this, but every patient is different and every decision to pull the plug is different. So I think you need to look at the team and the division. I think you mentioned it, even though I picked the Falcons and they're in good shape, even after an inexplicable loss to Joshua Dobbs. I think you have to look at the division you're in and where you're at. So 9 may work for some teams.
Yeah.
May not work for others. Bucks are still in the race, as unimpressive as they have been. I don't think it's time for them to pull the plug yet, although Sunday was a heart-wrenching loss. I couldn't imagine waking up to that and seeing 39-36. I wouldn't believed it.
Yeah.
Incredible. But you got to decide where you're at by team, by division, in my opinion.
Burn?
Yeah, I think I'm the same. I echo all of that because if I'm the Bucks, I'm not pulling the plug because you guys can win that division. It's lack of better words. It's the worst. It's the worst division in the league. And I hate to say that. I feel bad saying it. It's 100% accurate. But yeah, there's other teams
been on a losing streak.
Other teams are probably more in that point. Like, all right, we're not winning the division. Chances are we're not winning. We're not going to make a playoff spot. We're not. So it's time to pull the plug. But
Arizona, the Giants.
Arizona,
go ahead. Start your offseason now.
And with Daniel Jones out, yeah, that's the thing. It's like some of these teams.
It's not that it matters if Daniel
like
Jones
if I'm Arizona, I don't even. That's true. Tyrod Taylor probably has the same amount of wins, right? But
Green Bay. Okay, what about Green Bay? Pull the plug? Really?
Yeah. Have you seen the kiddies? Green Bay has to figure out what they have with Jordan Love, and I'll be honest, it's not a lot of love. It's maybe but he's not the answer. I am, and
We
that's not
you
me
guys probably
being
would
a
have thought that
Lions bias.
Minnesota was down and out,
I
but
was hoping was
they're looking like they're hanging in there right now.
they'll hang in there, but I mean, at the end of the day, I look at the quarterback situation on all four of those teams. We have the better. We're on paper. We have the better quarterback, and we have the better roster. And
You,
and have you seen our schedule?
so do you, all right. So
Yeah.
do you both think that Detroit has a
Yes.
chance to be the number 1 seed?
Let's play a game real quick. Team A, Team B, Team C. We'll go over the next 6 games for Team A. Team A has Jaguars, Bucks, Seahawks, Eagles, Sea Turkeys again, and Cardinals.
Okay.
Let that process for a moment.
Got
Team
it.
B has Superchargers, Bears, Saints, Bears again, Broncos, and the Packers.
Okay.
Let that sink in.
Got it.
Team C, Red Kingdom, Bills, 49ers, Cowboys, Sea Turkeys, G-Men. Which team would you rather be?
Well, Team B.
Team B for Bernie, baby. That's what we do. That's the right
for Bernie. B, in this case, for Motown, because those are your kiddies. Pathway to the next 6 games to us legitimately be, at the worst, probably 4-2 in those games, moving to 10-4, 10-4, good buddy, and we don't play our best. Gotta love that schedule. Lines up very well.
Yeah. At the end of the day, look, we're 6-2. Chargers and Cowboys are pretty much the only 2 games where it's like, if we don't play our best, we could lose those games.
I agree. Saints could be tough at home. I'm worried about that.
They
play that defense plays tough, especially in the Superdome. I think those 3 games, I agree with you, Bern, are the most concern.
But that worst case scenario, what's that put us? 12-5?
I think that works.
And
You just have
like
to out Philly.
Yeah.
Philly, Chiefs,
I
Bills,
actually
Niners, Cowboys. Woo.
I think we're, barring some major injuries, like, we're no worse than 3.
Agreed.
I think 2 is.
Yeah.
I think 2 is well within reach, and I think 1 is definitely a possibility.
2 is, you want to be
if
at
things
least
fall into
1 or
place.
2.
Yeah, obviously,
2
ideally.
Yeah, because 2, that means that you would play a team like the Bucks, right?
Please.
That would be a disaster in the first
And
round.
we'll go again. We'll be there this
Nothing-
time in Detroit.
Nothing
I'm
would
not
make me
going to let you
happier.
crazy. You're out of your mind. Out of the 3 losses last week, there was Dallas, Miami, and Buffalo all lost. Bijan, I'll start with you. Who had the most impactful loss for the season?
This is a tough one for me. Miami can't win a big game, but
No.
with their schedule, if they beat who they're supposed to beat and lose who they're supposed to lose to, they'll be fine. Not a great thing. Cincinnati's hot. I was wrong on that. You were right. For me, it's the Cowboys. It's a divisional loss on the road in Philly that Philly tried to give away, but couldn't. And what a finish to that game. Still mind-numbing for me. Dallas had a chance to make a statement there, but we saw who they continue to be in prime time. I think because it was divisional and because of the timing, for me, slightly, this is not a runaway, but for me, slightly, it's Dallas.
Yeah, and exactly what Bijan just said. I agree. That's why if there's an impactful loss, that's like a major impact, it's Dallas losing because it was divisional. And now they have a 2.5, they're back 2.5 games. That's a lot of ground to make up within your division. You do still have to play Philly one more time, which is always a plus. But this time, I just don't see it. But Miami and Buffalo were losing. Miami's got a 1-game lead, but Buffalo holds a tiebreaker. So I feel like they both still, like, they own their own destiny. So if they keep winning, one of them's gonna pull it out. So it sucks. Like, Miami losing, I think, was impactful for the sole fact that they have yet to be able to beat a team that's 500. I think that speaks volume. But it doesn't hurt them as much because they still lead the division. They still have a path to the playoffs. Dallas, 2.5 games out and still has some big games ahead of them. That could hurt them down the road. That's the only thing that'd be my concern.
Yeah, I think that with your Dallas, though, you were in that game, and you easily could have won that game. With Buffalo, they've been losing a lot of games here, and
Yeah.
they have not been looking good, and just to lose
Mm.
another one on top of it with Cincinnati and fall further back in the overall race here, it's almost like they have to just win their division now because they're not looking good for the wild card possibly even. And who would have ever thought that with Buffalo?
They got
Miami, I
another
think it.
primetime game, and they play every game in primetime, so it's under the
I know.
lights. They're
Yeah.
again Monday night game against the Broncos, who just
They're
beat
gonna
the
win that
Chiefs.
game, though.
They
They'll win
should
that
beat
game,
that. Yeah.
But Miami, it's been disappointment galore with them. Okay, they win a game by 90 points against Denver, but they can't beat anybody worth anything. So I think that all three of those losses actually had a decent amount of impact overall, but it remains to be seen what's going to happen
Your
going
question was
forward.
most impactful. Just want to make sure you
Yeah.
were aware of that.
Most impactful for me, I would say Buffalo, man.
Okay.
They're
Yeah, please answer
they're
the question.
they're I feel like they're almost in trouble except for the fact that they get the Broncos, so then they get to it's like
They
it
get that
happened with them
W.
last time. Yeah, it happened with them last time. They were struggling, and then they got the Bucks, and they were like, "Okay, let's get a win real quick." But then they go right back on the losing train. So I don't know. If I was a Buffalo fan, I'd
Oh,
be nervous as crap right now.
very much.
We're getting ready to play our favorite game, Don't Be Nasty. I do have to point out that our very own Matthew Burn Nasty is no longer nasty.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Not nasty
I'm
anymore
nasty in a
because
different way.
yeah,
You
he's
flipped the script on that.
I did.
7-0. Ooh, my goodness.
Please let the record show that one person in this episode has gone over, and one person has gone undefeated.
yeah, and I almost went over, but I was able to squeak out a win there. And I will say this, Texas very well should have won that covered the spread in that game.
Oh,
I don't
never a
know,
doubt there.
Yeah,
Never
there
a
was no doubt.
I
You know what?
was like, how did
you know what?
Texas
I'll
not
give it to
cover
you. I'm
that?
6-1.
doubt.
Yeah, then you ended up getting it. First
Yeah.
game on the dock, we have Michigan, Penn State. All right, so Michigan's traveling to Penn State. Vegas has us at 4.5. Okay, I'm actually going to start with Bijan because we already know who Burns going to pick.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be aligned with Burn on this one. It's always a good idea, clearly, from last week to do that. But here's some stats of why. Michigan's defense, 35th, or actually, so Michigan's offense is 35th in the red zone. Penn State's defense, as good as it's been, is only 98th red zone. So it's hard to get to the red zone against the Nittany Lions, but when you do, you score touchdowns, which is what I think Michigan will do and has done. Other stat is Michigan's defense, first against the pass, 10th against the rush. Harbaugh's have been extremely stingy. Penn State, 75th passing rated offense, 43rd ranked rushing offense. I think this 4.5 should be more 6.5. Give me Big Blue on the road. I don't care if it's a whiteout or whatever they're doing in Happy Valley. It won't matter.
Oh, you make me happy, Bijan. You do. Yeah, at the end of the day, so I would have been more concerned if it was a whiteout in Happy Valley at night. It's a whiteout
Mhm.
at noon.
Yeah.
Michigan does well at noon. It's recorded. But every stat that he just threw out is exactly why that Michigan is going to dominate from start to finish. I'm actually quite shocked that it's 4.5 with what
Yeah.
Ohio State did to Penn State. It's probably
Weird, right?
They're on the road, and so what's that add 3 points? So probably 7.5, 8. That's probably more in line of what it should be. But I think Michigan.
Yeah.
This is Michigan's chance, especially because we already have all the signs. I think this is our statement game, and I would say, because I love putting scores out there, I'm gonna go 34-10 Michigan.
Ooh, that's villainous. Ooh, that's
That's typical
vicious.
big. I feel like that's a good Big Ten score.
Yeah,
and
I like
because
it.
Michigan is the most complete team, and they will prove that this week because that's what everybody's
Okay.
been waiting for.
All right. I was getting ready to research this game, and then I was like, why am I doing that?
No reason.
Because number one, who cares what the stats say? Because neither team has really played anybody except Penn State played Ohio State. So I don't need to look too far. I can just look at the Penn State Ohio State matchup. I don't care if they beat so and so 60-3. That doesn't impress me. It means nothing to me. And it like boosts up their little team stats where they're like the top 5 defensive ranking in the NCAA. And I'm like, no, you're not. Okay. Like Florida State will light you guys up, baby. Come on. Let's settle it on the field. All right.
Woo.
But the only thing that's a little bit weird is that this is a fishy line. Why is it? I get the home field crap. 4.5 is a bunch of bull crap for this. This is Michigan all day long. And my thing with this is that, okay, the more important thing or the more interesting question on this is not who's going to win. I think you can put it on the board. You get the sweep from the SC crew.
Take it to the bank.
But my thing with this is, let's say for the fun of the show that Penn State wins this game, okay? And then Michigan beats Ohio State, right? Then there's a 3-way tie, right? Do you have any idea what the tiebreaker would be if that happened?
How bad you beat Purdue? They just look at that to pick one.
There might be.
Hopefully not Rutgers.
I don't know if it's if it's common games or if it's like it might come down to strength of record, and then that would put Ohio State in there.
They all have the same freaking strength of record. Oh, Ohio State has.
Ohio State
the
played
better
Notre
record.
Dame.
Yeah. Actually, Notre Dame lost again. They have 3 losses now.
I know, but Michigan and Penn State haven't played anybody currently on.
Oh,
Notre
you want to
Dame's
say
level.
that again so we can get it on the tape?
It's already been recorded. I'm just saying they haven't played yet. But I'm not worried about it. It's not going to happen.
Okay, so Penn State's number 11 or whatever. That's a bunch of bull crap. They're not the 11th best team in the nation. That's a bunch of honky dory bull honk. All right.
I agree.
So I think you're going to be a happy man on Saturday, I think, Burn.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
Bernie's always happy on Saturday with that record, but Saturdays are for Bernie.
He just always has a big smile on his face on Saturday.
Love it.
All right, so maybe a little bit more intriguing game. I don't know. Let's see what the Sports Caviar crew has to say about this one. We have Ole Miss traveling to UGA, -11. Burn.
This one's tough for me, but I go with my gut because my gut's 7-0. But my thing is, I think Ole Miss is better than Missouri. What Georgia did to Missouri should have been closer. Missouri had their chances. 10.5 points is a lot.
11.
Or 11, sorry. 11.
It moved, yeah.
Give me those points. Ole Miss can move the ball. Lane Kiffin's got it. He's offensive minded. Jackson Dart. Give me Jackson. That's a cool ass name. Give me Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
Beck. I honestly look. I wouldn't be surprised if Ole Miss wins, but 11 points. I'll take the points all day.
Bijan.
Burn 2 for 2. We are aligned, and here's why. Go and grab those 11 points before it goes back to 10.5. That's going to be a key number because 31-20 is a push and 30-20 is a win. Against the spread on the road, Ole Miss is 2-1. The mighty Georgia Bulldogs at home are 1-5 covering the spread. Not a great number.
Yeah, they haven't.
And Ole Miss plays close ball games. Ole Miss, the last 5 ball games, with the exception of Vanderbilt, who they blew the doors off of, were 6-point games. They play in close ball games. Lane Kiffin has got to continue to be and allow that team to be who they are and not do it against Alabama. I don't think the Saban respect factor is there. He's got to keep the foot on the gas. 11 points, way too much.
Yeah, Georgia has been winning games this season, as we know. Obviously, they're undefeated, but I thought that they would have had turned the corner by now, where they're just going to show everybody, oh yeah, we got off to a slow start. we're going to start blowing people out. And that has not happened at all. Okay, so you have Dart versus Beck. They both have a passer rating around 170, so that's a wash right there. You got Edwards and Judkins. Judkins probably gets a little bit more of a nod there. Statistically speaking. I don't really know if that really matters that much. Georgia's defense is a little bit better than Ole Miss.
Yes.
They give up an average of 15 points to 21 points per game. Can Ole Miss hold Georgia to 32 or less? And I
Yes.
don't know if they can, because Ole Miss, I don't know, man. I think that Ole Miss, okay, what I like about them is they're scrappy. Dart, he's a dual threat quarterback. He can throw the ball down the field. He can also rush. I like that. Also, another thing to consider here is if Ole Miss were to win this game, they're still not even in the SEC title game because Bama is undefeated and Bama's not going to lose another game. So it's almost, and I think Ole Miss knows that. So I don't know how motivated they're really going to be to win this game on top of
Spoilers.
it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that's enough. I don't know if that's enough for Kiffin and company. I'm going to try it. And I'll go with
there you go.
Georgia minus 11. And then I'll just the same thinking as last week. This is the week they win by more than 2 touchdowns. Let's see here. Next game, Oklahoma State at UCF. The line is 2. Okay, UCF is getting 2.5 point at home to somehow creep their way into bowl eligibility. Burn, go ahead.
This is a trap game. That's why it has to be, because they think there's going to be a letdown from the Oklahoma win.
Yeah.
But here's my thought. My thought is that UCF almost beat Oklahoma.
Yep.
Lost by what, 3-ish, maybe 2. So 2.5 here. Oklahoma State beat Oklahoma.
They haven't won a Big 12 game yet.
No, and it's not going to start today or Saturdays. If it was 3.5, maybe I'd consider. But no, Oklahoma State's going to go in there and take care of business because he's a man. He's a man, and they win. man win. So give me Oklahoma State. Lay the 2.5. They can go to the bounce house, and they'll easily cover 2.5.
Burn, this is becoming a theme.
Ooh, you're following me.
3 for 3. I got to tell you the way that you're looking. Hob, I love what you said about Ole Miss. And the opposite is in play for Oklahoma State and the Cowboys. They win this game, their path to the Big 12 championship, they control their own destiny. They are going to be super motivated after an impressive win over their hated rival, the Sooners, last week. I love the bounce house. Good for UCF. Another gritty win over a down Cincinnati team last week. Nice gritty win. 2.5 points. I might think about it at 5, but I want this before it gets to 3. No letdown for Gundy and Okie State. It's going to be guns out in the bounce house. Give me Okie State probably by 6.
Yeah, so this is an interesting stat here for Oklahoma State. Their running back, Gordon, he leads the NCAA in rushing yards, okay? If you've watched any of the UCF games this season, the one thing that they absolutely cannot stop is the run, okay?
Oh yeah.
So UCF couldn't stop a paper bag from getting wet in the desert at this point, okay?
It's a bulletin board material.
Is that an actual saying, or is that just something it just felt right?
It felt right.
Okay. That's a new one for me.
Bijan hit it on the head. If they went out, then they're going to be playing Texas in the Big 12 championship game, which nobody would have thought. Nobody guessed Oklahoma State. The only option that UCF has here now, I will say this: Vegas is not normally too off on these situations, right? So they have it at 2.5. That is a tight game. If it is a 3-point game in the fourth quarter, I think that you're wondering about that at that point. If you're UCF, Oklahoma State, you're like, okay, UCF could actually win this game.
Well, they were up by 28 against Baylor at home, so yeah.
Yeah. No, I know, but it's week to week, right? So they have to sell out on the run and try to just stop this guy, right? And then just hope that Oklahoma State beats them in the air. It's not really a good game plan, to go in. Like, you want to be balanced. So Oklahoma State is going to be another sweep on that one. You can book it. Sorry to all my UCF friends that are listening to this.
Yeah, we love the Knights. No offense. Just going with a better team here on Saturday.
What is there saying? Charge on?
Charge on. Something about the national champs that really didn't happen.
How does a charge on chant go?
Is it a joust? Do they joust? I don't know.
You know what it is, Bern. Come on.
Look, I know the one song that was that one song that they always had. That's now like the most popular college song across campuses.
What are you talking about?
I'm not going to sing it. I don't have a good voice. So,
Can you hum it?
Oh. Well, hum.
They didn't.
That was like the only thing I've ever heard at UCF. Yeah, that's the first time I ever
play
heard
that
that
on
song.
loop. I think on loop, and everyone just
Like,
jumps
they
up and down.
play it
A lot of
45,000
concussions.
times.
That song
It's like a
came
rave
out
gone
in, like,
wrong.
1984. That song
It may have came out there, but I don't know what first college team. But that's the first
It
time I
really
ever heard
wasn't
that song.
UCF. UCF.
That's
just
what I think of
started
though
it.
too, Burn. I think of that
Thank
song.
you.
No, they have a chant.
Okay, Javi,
It's
we're
like,
sorry.
Charge on.
Okay.
Go Knights,
Where's
go.
we need Lena.
And that's how I texted him to ask him what his thoughts were on the game. He's like, "We can't stop the freaking run, bro."
Insider.
That
funny.
was your stat.
Yeah. Okay, so you got the Niners just riding the struggle bus to Jacksonville. So I'm gonna
Mhm.
start with Burn on this one because that's his third favorite team. I'm starting to lose track of how many
So
favorite
many.
teams he has, but
Okay.
it's +3.
Um,
Jacksonville +3.
Yeah. And I'm not going to get off that bus. Home underdogs, after what San Fran's done over the last few weeks, the Jags have shown that they have a dynamic offense. What Doug Pearson's done with Trevor Lawrence is just, I'm so thankful for after what Urban did to him. But Jacksonville's defense is actually pretty stout, and I think they can control the time of possession, and I think that'll be important. C-Mac, I believe, is back, probably a little healthier, and Debo too. But yeah, give me 3 points at home. I'm taking the home dog. Give me the Jags. I actually think they win this game outright. Take the Jags.
This will be the first time we disagree this program. So Shanahan had a week off. Niners got healthy. So did the Jags. So the Jags were also off last week, so they are rested. Both teams should be rested. However, Debo, and not only Debo, but Chase Young going to suit up for the Niners as well as CMC. I think the 3-point line is good. I think it maybe is a push at worst, but because of that, or I could see it maybe being 27-23, going to be a tight ball game and a well-played ball game. Both teams well coached. I'm going to go with the Niners, who I think are the slightly on the defensive side of the ball better, although the Jags are stout, as you mentioned. This is a tough call. Give me the Niners, though. I feel it with the Chase Young is going to run rampant. A close one. Barely covers, but Niners, please. Confidence level low.
Last week, we mentioned that this was going to be a matchup for week 9 in
10.
the NFL.
10.
And I was all over Jacksonville at that point, and then now that I'm actually looking at the game, I'm like, okay, statistically speaking, defensive stats, offensive stats, all of the variables where they came up with this 3-point line is because both teams are very identical. I think if you're a Jacksonville fan, you should probably feel pretty happy that you're in the same ballpark as the Niners in general in the NFL season right now. And possibly, and actually in reality, you're better off right now than San Francisco, which is crazy to even say. But I do think that the bye week helped San Francisco because they were averaging only 17 points a game in their last 3 games. Now, that wasn't what they were doing before their bye week, or that wasn't what they were doing beforehand. And so obviously they ran into something where something was happening with their offense, and it was just, they had to figure it out. Shanahan did get some time to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he probably figured it out, right? And then they get Dabo. It's not
What?
Dabo.
No.
And Debo Samuel is one of the best players in the NFL, right? You get a weapon like that back, and then you can
Yeah.
actually pair that up with CMC Music Factory. I think that San Francisco is gonna end up they're gonna win this, and they're gonna cover, actually. Sorry to all my Jags fans and my UCF fans, friends, and all these people that are listening to the
France.
show. Hoping they got their hopes up, and they're getting crushed right now.
Should be a great game, though. I don't see this as a blowout either way.
No. I think San Francisco is gonna win by a touchdown.
Tutty.
Then somehow this ended up being a somewhat decent game. You got the Texans at 4-4 traveling to Cincinnati, -7. Okay. Bijan, do you like that number for Cincinnati?
I love 7 for the Houston Texans because they don't know what they don't know and they don't care. Road dogs +7 at a team that believes in themselves after a miraculous victory. I hate to bring it up again. I know it interrupted your nap, Hav, but let's talk about stats. Offense for the young Houston Texans, who were a super fun team to watch. They are 9th in yards per play. The Bengals are 31st against it. Not a good recipe. Also, 4th in passing yards because CJ Stroud throws until his arm falls off. 60 attempts a game. Cincinnati's defense, 22nd. Now, am I outright Houston Texans win? No, but 7 points. That number 7 is key. 6.5, don't love it. 7 and hopefully 7.5 would love that. So give me the Texans. I love what they got going on there in the hot and swarmy city of Houston. +7 Texans.
I guess this is 2 for 2, Bijan. We're just gonna keep falling off the rails here on. You're not falling off.
It's going so well.
You're not following a
Burns went
winner.
all over Cincinnati.
Look,
So,
Cincinnati is probably the second hottest team in the league right now, second to the Jaguars.
I thought you were
Who are
gonna
on
say
a
the
5-game
Lions.
winning streak. But the Bengals have found a way. They've found the winning recipe. They're going back to their old ways again. Burrow is as healthy as he's gotten or been all season. 7 against the Texans team that has a rookie quarterback on the road, prime time. Now, this is a big game for CJ Stroud. He's going to buckle. He's going to have the rookie mistakes, and that's going to cost him. And 7 points, it's high. It ain't high enough.
Ooh.
Bengals lay the points, win by 13 or more.
Confident.
If you look at the stats between these two teams, Houston has been looking pretty good this season. But one of the things that they've been doing over the last 3 or 4 games, they've been beating up on the NFC South. Okay, so
delicious division.
It goes back into my discussion earlier about the Penn State Michigan game, and you can just throw the stats out. Like, who cares, right? Who cares if you beat up on the NFC South? That doesn't mean you're good, right? So I think that the reason why the number's only 7 is because Houston's getting this credit for being better than what they actually are. I don't think they're actually this good. So I'm going to take Cincinnati -7 as well. And they're going to continue to ride this. It's almost like they're becoming the best team in the AFC at the way that they've been playing. A touchdown? Sure. Who cares?
Texans
there we
did
go.
beat, I think Jaguars are the last team that Texans are
That's
the last team they
correct.
lost to, I believe,
That's
on the road
correct.
in Duval. I think it's going to be an exciting game to watch. A lot of points. If you love points, sit back and enjoy this air raid. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yes, if you enjoy points by the Bengals, sit back and enjoy.
Jamar Chase stat. So we got last game on the old dock here. Detroit traveling to the Los Angeles Chargers +2.5. I'll let you guys say your piece. I don't know. What are you gonna say?
You want to go first, Bijan?
Burn, can we get back together?
Yes, I think we're back together.
Oh, let's get back together to end the program. This is nice.
This is perfect.
Kitties, bye week. Chargers, short week. Chargers struggle with the Jets. Not an impressive win. Lions did not struggle as they licked their wounds back home. Lions 5th in first downs in the NFL offensively. Chargers 31st, almost last in defending it. Lions able to actually pass the ball, unlike the Jets, 6th in passing offense. LA Chargers dead last in defending it. They will hold off Khalil Mack and Bosa long enough for Jared Goff to check down to Jahmyr Gibbs at least 6 or 7 times, like their version of Austin Eckler. Are the Lions going to go in there and destroy them? No, but it's basically a pick 'em. I like the Lions by 4 to 6. Maybe they get lucky, 7 to 10 if they play well.
Yeah, no, 100%. That bye week was huge for the Lions, allows some of our injured offensive linemen to get healthy. So I think we're going to have a healthy offensive line, which the Lions have top 5 O-line in the league. That's going to bode well. There's a chance that David Montgomery comes back, but it's not. That's not a huge. That would be fantastic, a bonus. But we had the Jahmyr Gibbs coming out party last week or 2 weeks ago, so I feel really good about that. Don't forget about that trade for Donovan Peoples-Jones. That's another weapon for Jared Goff. Even if he doesn't get in much, but he's something that can stretch the field and expand it a little bit for Jared Goff and over the tops. No, I feel really good about this one. 2.5 is not enough. I agree. I think Lions. I'm thinking probably 6 to 8 for sure. So yeah, lay the points. Even cross going to the West Coast. Those kitties are going to purr once again. 7-2 come next episode.
Yeah, so this is similar to the Oklahoma State UCF game because you're like, oh, Oklahoma State's better than UCF. Why is the line only 2.5, right? And then it's the same exact situation in this case, right? So you have Detroit, and you would think to yourself, oh, Detroit's better than the Chargers. How come the line's only 2.5, right? You know how many times I've lost bets because I'm like, oh, just give me, I'll take Detroit minus 2.5 all day long. Like
probably a lot on the Lions before this year. I'm sure there were a lot of bets lost if you were doing that.
Yeah. So, okay, so I'm like, okay, let me try to dig deep here. Like, what in the world are they seeing that makes them think that this line should only be plus 2.5? One thing that the Chargers are really good at is when they get in the red zone, their scoring percentage is through the entire roof. Okay. They're 69% scoring rate in the red zone, whereas Detroit's only 48%. Okay. So that says to me, okay, if the Chargers can get the ball into the red zone, this game could be a problem for Detroit, So am I allowed to buy a 0.5 point? I would love this at +3. Come on, give me the +3.
You also they have to get to the red zone.
Yeah, that could be a problem with the second best rush defense. Now you can't pass on the Lions, so if they take the Baltimore model, that is a potential chink in the armor.
I love Bear. I love Bear as a quarterback. Can the Bucks trade for him somehow, please?
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh, I need it. I'm gonna take the Superchargers and their red zone scorching offense.
Love it.
Ballsy move, Cotton.
I'm gonna side with the Vegas fish on this one and just say that the Vegas did it for a reason, and I'm gonna roll with that one, baby.
There you go.
So we'll see what happens there. Obviously, Florida State has a rivalry game, Miami. Hopefully, nothing crazy happens there, and then we will be back with you guys next week to discuss how I don't think that there's really any concern that any of the top undefeated teams are going to lose because it's just going to be another week where there are just 5 more undefeated teams. I guess Michigan is the one that we have to watch out.
Michigan and Georgia are still tests.
Yeah, watch out in Athens on Saturday.
Oh, Georgia, you're right.
I think is it a night game? And I think it's a 7:30.
I think they got the 7:30.
Look out in Athens. Wouldn't surprise me if Kiffin puts it together. It's hard to win that many games in a row in the SEC.
Yeah, so we'll have to see if Michigan loses and Georgia loses, we could be talking about all kinds of
mayhem.
Oh, we won't be.
Who's number 4 in that situation? So
I'm going to say this now. This is hard for me to say, but Again, make your investments wisely, but Florida State 5-1 to win the national championship. Not a bad investment.
If we're gonna finish on something, that's what I want to finish on.
I like that right there. Come on, baby. Give me
Good
5 to
investment.
1. I
Get
mean,
it before it
that's
goes to 3-1.
I like that. I didn't know that
Yeah.
that we still had those kinds of odds. We're in the
Mhm.
playoff as it stands right now. All right. Thank you, connoisseurs, for listening to our shenanigans again this week. And we look forward to talking to you again next week. Talk to you later.